对对，这么的亲，这亲的话都等到你这个啊。
Okay, we'll say the prayer on in English. I take refuge in the Guru.
I
I
take
take refuge
refuge
in
in
the
the
Buddha.
Buddha.
I
I
take
take
refuge
refuge
in
in
the
the Dharma.
Dharma.
I
I
take
take
refuge in
refuge
the
in the
Sangha.
Sangha. From
From
now
now
until
until
my
my
enlightenment,
enlightenment,
I take
from
refuge in the
Buddha
Buddha,
and
the
the Dharma,
Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, feel bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, adorned with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Yedam Guru Rana Mendala Kame Yada Yame.
야, 다음 주 다가 다리 돈이 공정해라. 다 같은 세바도 좀 곰르소네. 이치 셰르기 서 시와제네. 샘리 담비 마질라 진이 섬당이 다는 섬로 대치지 섬당이 다저 샘당 담을 남도 잠바 망고 용거도 용나텔라 카트지 가야 된 섬로 야마체 자자네 소소고 섬로당 유다랑 섬당 되나 코로 잠바 카우주도 고 담을 남토랑나 남토랑랑 코 메이크 지 로자가 되자 되지네 해텔로 곰지고 되나 때랑 지도마 그 송트 가르 곰기나 또 곰지니 대 다리사가 있지.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. Let's begin our today's discussion by practice Aryantara mantra, and which is a meditation, a form of meditation. Repeatedly said before, meditation means you did your investigation, and so you studied the subject matter, and then now you reach the point there, and you know for sure what it is that the nature of the subject matter is, that is the insight. So you develop it through your investigation, and you develop the insight, and that is wisdom, or here in Tibetan, the excellency or the superior quality of the knowledge. Act upon and that subject matter, the nature of subject matter, with this very insight which you developed, you have obtained or you have achieved, and then knowingly, right, and with consciously by being aware of that very nature of the knowledge of the knowledge which knows about the nature of the subject matter, then remain. Reflect in a collectively and with a great awareness, and stay and maintain in that state of awareness about the nature of the subject matter, and then get used to it, get familiar with it, and and so much so sort of a master into that very state of the being, and which is the meditation. And meanwhile, of course, you will have a lot of discursive thoughts and the ideas, the feelings, and the memories. So many things may occur, but nevertheless, just stay on the top of that very collective and the inside wisdom that I understand or aware of the true nature of the subject matter, and do not engage in any wandering thought. So by nurturing this state of awareness, then eventually all the discursive thoughts, wandering thoughts, and it will occur by itself and disappear by itself. So that is as the meditation. What is doing that to achieve this in your practice. No,
당도 애들한테 내가 보면 잘 왔던 거로 돼 있잖아, 그들. cái sâu chung sẽ tông ya áo đồ mà đôi ta
cái điều
ya
de ma la mo do ma la sha sa lo cha za do ma da re fa mo ta da ra ye ji kun se ma ta re do na tam je de ma so wa ye ge je la ra na da re de re so da re de re so re de re so da 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 re so
다 가정 가지고 제때 부용을 다 발신 듣는 바조비 준비 발신 같은 용수 sem진 jimba tangala da li longcho no jinjik tendang no jiji semjil an pen to tang do kanda zgre zin de da an samlo sembi kan da jimba de la chapan ro sanzang ge jimba sanzang ge jimba de li ki go ni so ne ji kare longcho la so pen jimba da an ji shambi jimba se de 다 문지기 비전 봐서 루청마다 아니 짐바 바로스 그 정하고 시시 연든데 파 소소 요비 연든데 파 메라고 쫓대라 때니 파쇼 미라 연든 통용 주다 치지 좀 바로 어떤 아니 문지기 비전 봐서 파쇼는 지적 요 지주들라 신앙들 교비에 소소 삼로리 다 합사등 리고니라스 공개 차례에 지금 겹트와이나 때 문지기 비전 봐서 어떤 게 시고 때자다 때 짐바 남섬 또 진진의 디카 인교다 준비 냠는지 당도 시고라 어떤 송단하더니 아주들이 마음을 들놓고 어제 좀 해줘.
Pardon me. Talking to myself. Yes, so let's do a quick caption or a brief reflection and see what do we have. What is our the topic of the day? Essentially, we were talking about the Bodhisattva's practice. So the essence of Bodhisattva's practice is represented by the 6 great perfections of wisdom. And then the first great perfection of wisdom is the generosity. So on that note, we are try to understand the essence of the definition of the generosity, the characteristics of the generosity, and the various features of generosity, and the importance of the generosity. So generosity is essentially about giving, and the giving has to have some kind of objects, and so you need to take in and give it to a particular objects of the offering or the giving. So in this sense that we know as a Bodhisattva's practice, when you practice your generosity, and so you have the body, and then that you can take in and use as the objects of the giving, and you can use it to give to others, and then anything that you possessing. And you can also give in. So, and then we know that the Bodhisattva's practice of generosity essentially is about the training of the mind. This is unlock oneself from this sense of the miserliness, right? So the way to unlock yourself, free yourself from the sense of the miserliness, and you needed to take your body and use as the objects and some kind of valuable thing, and then give it to others. The way you're giving, again, is very much accordingly, and so this practice of wisdom and giving has to be guided clearly and carefully, monitoring and with the clear understanding and the wisdom. So yes, so technically we have here is the three forms of generosity. One is the generosity of material goods, and the generosity of the dharma, and the generosity of the protection. So generosity of the material goods is that anything that you have can be transformed, transportable, or and can be transformed to from person A to B. You can, and to serve or to relieve the person from a particular the suffering that he or she or they are experiencing. So then our body, so we do have our body, so which is a very useful tool, and we can interact it or take it and then into this very practice of generosity and serve others, and then not only the body, we also have the verbal and functionality. Or faculty, we can use it again and to serve others, and then our intentions. So both body, speech, mind, we can take it to fulfill the needs of others. And then the Dharma teaching, the generosity of the Dharma here is that primarily about the Buddha Dharma, the knowledge of the Buddha Dharma you have obtained, and other experiences and the understanding of your Dharma practice, whatever the level you are. So you need to take it and give it to others, and share the qualities and share your inspirations and the knowledge and skills that you learned from Buddha Dharma. So that's the generosity of Dharma, and then the generosity of protection, or generosity of protecting others from the fear, which means that whenever you see there are people who mentally feel less secure or worrisome or experience a tremendous fear, so you go ahead and comfort them and reassure them and make them feel they've been protected, or and that there is some sense of care or love and concerns, and or someone's kind of they can relate to or rely on. So provide that kind of a safety, a sense of safety, a sense of the protection. And at the same time, also, if there's someone who is in danger, and there's circumstances which requires you to jump in and to save the life of others, all this are and is so whoever experiences the fear, and you get in and take whatever the action is necessary and help those people, protect them, is the practice of the generosity of protection.
다 같은 것들이 말로 가는 가정 그래서 캬퍼 캬퍼
아까 같이 거는 조금 거는
쇼동 앞등 게마 바로 참석은 누가 뜨니지.
같은 거잖아요.
이나 뜨인.
잡혔어.
다 년당 가정 뜨니 로아리 틀라마 좀 뜨니 로아 뜨니 마다 네. 노실라 같이 하더무. 캬퍼 때 랑라 노퍼시피 리글라 동이 쳤는다 수 달라 베좀 바통도 저동 아주 다 nye 달라 ཉལ 로지 세데 레로조 달라 로체스 칼코르 때자 때통도다 랑기 리리 시 네칸소 시전 하존 종을 저와 노시 탐칠 때니 때 상습기 셈기 적기 그라 대남란 더터 덴버 덴바 달나 점버 셰테 더터 케첩기 토마메 바니 디 네 더적기 마 란정 담머시 디 네금스 니츠기 판딱 탐치기 고니 판딱베 노바당 등을 말리와 큐피 진진 등 냠비 시와 녜동동 나키 다 진짜바들 근데 자연 토마메 바니 코적기 케남기 샤시 타통 리와멀 파파 쫌발라 소베 균 야설 톡발라 소베 담미 란착 위나 다리 대딱기 란착 등 진자와 고라 바베 켈라 옹위 개적 세도발라 세 게도발라 게 네캉 도발라는 네캉 쪼동 고요 도발라는 고요 세 세기 낭네경 가슴 돈나 팔라 가슴 가슴 도발라 가슴 샤트키 넘버 도발라는 대딱 넘버 종을 삼라 디와메 버 개적 샤 도발남라 샤시 탕 도발남라 타통 리완 도발남라 리와물 박반 도발남라네 박바균 롱나 짐바탕 롱나 짐바탕 머롱나 추와 시 캡르 땅테 대딱 땅상 일 대딱기 롱초피 네크스 리당 셈섬 기쿠모 오퐁기 등은 땅절 노피 셈 동아 느피 삼바 탐치 녀르 셔상 젠픈 상심기 셈 gel라 통테 촌이 탈신데 셈지 체크 대와 땅 담버 삼라 아니 판비 주 대와인 노피 주 등을인 ರಂಗಲೀಲಾ ಕೋಯಲಂಗ್ನಿ ಜನ ನೋಬ ಮಾಶೆ ಚಿಗುಜಿನಿ 랍샤드 잠네드네 아니 시 랭가 샤쇼라 소페 손섬지 시위 셈진 남라 름지 땅테 데터 샤쇼기 직든지 감건gel롱이 셰마닌나 또 셈진 데터 진이 요바 남라 리 땅와 마진 샴버사 데비전드 손섬 하마 남라야 다우르 시월 샤오 조다 뜻고츠고라 또 로타나 땡긴 데시다 틀통적으로
내 가상아마 지금 너무 세려로.
또 로메 가정만 디 강디 총 다다 가정만 디 강디 도레 닐와가 되니 총로 랑디 리 용수 세와라 닐와 냥금 좀 길러 소바 땅땅 뜻이
이게 건강 심한데 되거든. 그래서 안당인데 쇼 고찰 통이야. Okay, somebody remind me we were where we left the last time. I'm having trouble to find the English copy, the translation in English. 아까 그 농장에 때도 제가 듣는 게 농장 선생님이 그 인지나는 데 보이기는 지금 애는 거. 농장에서
타마 때나 그거가 내가 농담에 그 판비되어 되와이 높이 등은
I think we're on page 66.
66, right? Okay.
Yeah, midway.
Okay. What is it? Given the particular to those who harm us. Okay. 아까 내가 라마 노체제 와서 Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, I had a hectic morning and I'm still disoriented. I had the chance to have breakfast and you really prepared. Okay. Yes. So 66. I guess could you read from the 65 let's go to the middle, giving in particular to those who harm us. And having imagined creating various external necessity, such as food, clothing, and shelters from our bodies, we invoke all harmful elements with the hook of the awakening mind, then sincerely give them whatever they require, generates a deep sense of closeness to them, thinking, you have all been my own mother on countless occasions over beginningless time. You have tried your utmost to help me in every possible way, saving me from a misery and a disaster. Remember that in addition, we owe them an immense debt, having eaten their flesh, gnawn their bones, drunk their blood, and worn their skins. We have robbed them of their passion and their possessions, and tortured them physically and taken their lives. We should recognize that we now have a responsibility to repair this debt of kindness. Since this is their right, imagine they're obtaining what they each wish in their respective forms: food for the hungry, clothes for the needy, shelter for the homeless, friends, and servants for those who earn for them. Of the food supplied and the three dairy products, the three sweets, and the flesh and the blood for those who want them. Give literally without restraint. Let those who want flesh eat it. Let those who want blood drink it. Let those who want bone gnaw them. Let those who want skin wear them. Whether they want raw food immediately or cooked food eventually, let them have it. The moment we give to them, they eat, and they eat, and their bellies filled and being relieved of hunger, thirsty, and poverty. They gain mental satisfaction. Their malicious thoughts and evil deeds are pacified. The altruistic intention of the awakening mind is born in their mind streams, and the two collections are perfected. Imagine that thereby their mind streams are imbued with the bliss of a perfect body of truth. Their
어디죠?
롱드송이가 말하다.
나 롱든 로차다. 니와 람시
okay.
공사 스테바르죠.
Oh yeah. Okay. There is a verse which says the result of help is happiness and the fruit of harm is misery. See your own condition as an example and do not inflict harm on others. The same practice of giving should be repeated towards all beings in every direction. Think of giving your body just as before to every sentient beings without exception living in world in the eastern directions as numerous as grains of sand in the Ganges River. Then give likewise to those in other main and sub directions.
어이 다
그럼.
제다 일단 디 도도로 domro di samlo tangda karshe guzna ngazo chitang zo nyin tang soso la chi gasat de la rong chi gyo da jima tang le lo yorda soso maga sa dado de la rong chi gona chitang ngazo chande kale ko yora ta te la kanda samdang gore samdang ta tang go ne o ta da se de ti tang namba tham chi da ji chi rong ji ba yo mar ko ngoma kyo ngoma ne ngazo thoma ba she go kyo ngoma ne ko ma kir yor ma kir ne rang ko ngala katin 치다강도 판도지요래 대창의 판도지에 진작인 삼로 쇼치던 거지. 진에 그런도 우리 영화도 다 배지 로 섬진담들 진이 기와lên 디샤당 탁당 지방 아주 몽보세니 그런도 방이 나중에 노밖에 아니 몽보 벌른 몽보 랩다 버스 로 렌차 벌른 렌차 몽보 랩다 버스 디 남인기 데우티 아주 정말 자통 용거를 대자 디 서비스 때 영리 배 그런도 세도 받나라 세기도 받나라 기 네밀다 쪼도 받나라 쪼 텐데 남바다 쪼고 소소 쪼위고니 파스 다 노바 첨바치니 노바 채용으로서 그런도 샘기 다 리기에니 지 강은소 용소가 셀용으로서 세 아니 샘그당라 노슴다 등을 용소가 제용으로서 전에니 그런 배 아주이나 다 시드기당들로 총니 저 정말 벌써 속바지 작성성 지금도 노바서 늑바 늑비사바 용 여르시지 대체용으로 디 그런 것을 나다 노슴 당아도 노바캬 렌척벌이나 노바캬 늑는 용서 가르자 말아서 그런 노바 용 선벌지용으로 그 장아도 자기나 가서 마가데 도덕질은 용다 용서가 상소나 년대 기령 거라 년대 기령으로 써도 되니 그런 합샤 라고 가르자 버즈나 단 노비선 더 지니잖아라
뭔가 Okay. So here we have to deal with our own reality, and if we take the teachings that we just learned, the spiritual guide, the guidance or the blueprint that we just have learned, heard a moment ago, and take it as some kind of let's say a mirror, and then take it up on. Then we sort of looking into it ourselves, see who we are and how we're doing. And obviously, our first experience to that naturally is that yes, we are sort of being. So much so, the pre-programmed or sort of been shaped in a way that we naturally feel easier to give the things that provide help and guidance, and in terms of generosity, it's much easier to give to the ones we love. The ones that we feel closer, and so that's our basic situation. And at the same time, and we just somehow feel that it is extremely difficult to do the same, or the individuals we don't like or hate it. So, as a Bodhisattva practice, we must overcome these obstacles, right? And so then the question is, we must equalize and treat both the beloved ones and so-called enemy on the same, bring them in the same place and treat them equally. So, but then what do we do? Because our natural sense is that it is just hard. We just can't do it. To answer this question, and I guess that the previous scripture and or the teachings already paved a path for us, and for the theological and even the sort of fundamental, the logical argument for us to rely on and to follow. That is, so when you see that you have this problem to treat the people you hate or dislike and as your beloved ones, your close ones, then you need to bring the Buddhist understanding of the reincarnation, right? So we know that with this idea of reincarnation, everything began to make a sense. Why? Because you were in this someone and before this lifetime, and then you can infer, right? You were someone else before, and then you go on and on, so all the way, and you just can't really use your human perception to clearly define there is an absolute starting point of your existence as an individual person. But what you find out is that your the continuation of you as individual and a person is actually beginningless. Okay? So this very logical reason and the conclusion that you drawn that is that I started my life so there's no particular point moment that is the starting point, but rather it's the beginningless. So therefore, from the beginningless on up onto this very life here, and I have been born to someone elsewhere and all over the place, and up to this point, which means that just like in this lifetime, I've been born to and a particular individual, and I call the mother and the father, right? And so then you know that's how much you've been, how well you've been treated in terms of survive, in terms of to protect you from all the life-threatening and dangerous situations, and so on and so forth. You definitely owe, right, your parents. So now you take this as example, and then go on and to the previous life, and then the life before, and then go on and on. And you know that just like the text says, your previous one of your particular previous lifetime. And you not only owe your parents like here now, you actually owe them a much greater deal of their kindness. And so, for example, like you may have been born as the species, and so in the wild species, you may the hunting and down at a particular bean, and you ate the flesh, right? And or you wearing their skins, and or you use them, and in many ways, not just give the birth to use you, but for your own very survival, and so many beings, and you've been used, or you took an advantage of whenever you can, and for your own individual self benefits. So in that sense, that in the case of a human being, of course, you owe the parents a great deal of debt, but even in the other general situations, you also owe all sentient beings one way or another a great deal of loan or debt. So this is the second reality, and so beginningless time, and that tells you yes, so you owe somebody, and then when you think about each life situation, and you also use others, even physically, like ate up their flesh for your own survival. And all this tells that you owe them, right? And you have you are obligated to repair whatever you owe them. And so for this reason that in this particular practice, we need in our meditative absorption, and we need to meditate and take our body and as the object of offering, and freely and give it to all of them, and then make it each individual, right? Whoever wants it, whatever they want, like the scriptures about the bed or the meat, food and water and the supplies, any needs they need, whatever give and they need in your meditation or meditative absorption. So you gave it to them freely, and by doing so, and you made them satisfied. You know, it is important to understand the point of satisfaction. When you satisfy somebody's needs, especially you owe them, and or they feel, you know, they knew and you owe them. Once you satisfy there and make them feel and content, then they will stop the harming, and then they will enjoy themselves. So therefore, from our body, and we use it our whatever we can available, and they give it to them, and to try to free themselves from their dissatisfaction and their unpleasant experience. So when you do then reach their what they need, and then their mind of any sort of the harmful intentions will be end, will be stopped, and so then they began to enjoy themselves. And at that point, as a part of the Bodhisattva, as a skillful means practice, and then you go approach that person while he or she or they sort of feel content and they enjoy, and then go and teach them and then help them with the Dharma and or whatever the things that they needed, you think that they needed to learn about it. And so this is how we needed to know, and in terms of practice generosity and in our meditative absorption.
남기 다세를 지금 시고 다세도 선분 전당 지금 연구자 되게 콜라 지금 전부 텀보로 지 건건 높이 요스공원다 때 년차로 그래. 년차 용을 썼더니까 다 콜라네 말아서 식파 가래요즈나 코 대화도 봐도 등에만도 봐 인자 때라다 합사지나만도 거 가르치고 있나. 단데스고 단 높이 되고 등을 때 판빈 되고 대화 인시 근데 판덕빈 되고데 대화레스 삼나 노바치버스 미삼노데 지위 되고데 가르자 등을레스 근데 랑글리라 회랑네 잘라노바 마시지긴 오다 랑글리라 회랑네 소소 랑글리라 회랑네 잘라노바 마시아즈네 잘라 합사데 자고 랑라 삼노 따당 거레스 뜻지네 에네 가즈나 레시그지 샤기 쇼니다 아니 쇼즈 참길라든지 중고조 동부 샤기 쇼라 삼노 땅네 샤기 쇼라 로망보 소소거지 그런 것도 리롱수 탐지 파진이 그런 것도 봐용수 참바지 근데 샤기 상 보는데 샤업도 쇼참 가는 것이 많이 있어 지금 감 탐질라든지 진짜 삼동 거를 쓰고다 뜻지네 지금 바로 좀 봐. So
since we have no problem and relatively to practice our generosity to those we love or we feel close, so therefore there's no much in the discussion and needed at this point. But we have to go back to focus on the most challenging aspect of this practice. That is how you can successfully practice generosity to the ones we label them as enemy, or someone we feel troublesome, or we don't like it. So again, go back to the we have to apply the very Buddhist understanding of the life, and through the lens of the reincarnation. We know that in world we call somebody as the enemy, and we have the tendency to try to fix it and make it sort of fixed. Something is never ever it will change it, and so thereby we feel constantly sort of be challenged and threats. In fact, if you look at it from a reincarnation point of view, there's no such a thing really as an enemy or a beloved one. And the notion is very relative. It's kind of temporary, and as almost like it has no really a base, or substantially there is a base in tangible. It is not a tangible object, a tangible thing at all. It is just the attitude, or it's the mental perception. So it's the way how you mentally sort of grasping and you define. So objectively, there's no absolute enemy. There's no absolute friends, and there are the thing. The reality is friends and the enemy, or beloved one, enemies as interchangeably it changes all the time, replace with each other. So here we deal with keep this philosophical understanding in mind, and then think about the difficult ones, or the people we don't like it, but still we do need to practice our generosity. So, like we discussed about from the sort of the Buddhist cosmological point of view, and or how the life is sort of evolved, right, and prior to this one, and that reason is powerful enough to convince us. But other than that, we also can apply a very practical moral philosophy to support our enterprise of the generosity. That is, we know just like ourselves, we don't want to be mistreated. We do not want to experience any suffering. We always constantly, naturally, and want to be happy. So similarly, in the other beings, they also looking for and to do the same thing, and just like we do. So keep this reality or this perspective in your mind. Then this also can help you to sort of encourage you, inspires you, open to the ones you feel you hate it or you don't like it, you feel challenged. But yet you have to practice generosity, with them. And so, as we said in the beginning that before, you needed to do whatever you can and necessary and skillfully and satisfy that particular individual. And then when that person feels satisfied, right, and feels content, then you go on. So you convince him or her, or talk to them, say, this is the reality. Just like you don't want to be mistreated and suffering, experience suffering. So here, me too. I don't want it. And then also the person and the other person and everyone equally. So this way, and that person might be able to open their mind and or accept to see the point you are trying to making. So that way you can exchange, you can change their attitude, you can change their worldview, and then their life way of life. So, and the most direct way is, of course, always sort of put your hands on your body, your chest, and think that I have this body, and I always do not want any bad thing happen to this body. So this is the reality. This is sincerely and genuinely is the case, and then you think about others. Yes, so all other beings who also exactly those who have the body and they want to protect it themselves and they want to avoid or free themselves from any form of harms. So this way, then you direct your attention to your meditative the contemplation, and you think that you direct yourself toward the all sentient beings and in the direction in the east direction, right? And then think that so now you are giving and everything and every to everyone accordingly and respectively, like we discussed before, and based on your clear understanding of the point of view of beginningless of life or reincarnation of the idea of the reincarnation, and also just like you want to be happy, you do not want to suffer. It's all others do, and you all sentient beings you want to repel and their kindness. So and yes, so in your meditation, imagine thinking and train your mind and open and ready and get yourself ready to free and to the state where you are absolutely ready to offer to giving whatever and the beings are in the living is direction. And so then you turn your attention to the beings in the south direction and do the same in the meditative contemplation or to reflecting upon thinking of and those important philosophical views or the wisdom and in terms of the reason and the importance of practice generosity, and then move on to the west. The beings from imagine that you are facing toward all sentient beings living in the west direction, and the beings in the north direction. So yes, so then turn it around and then finally imagine that every sentient being, all sentient being, now in terms of the number of the sentient beings that you want to indeed, you want to practice generosity is their number. The number of those beings as greater, as immeasurable as the grain of the sand at the river, at the bank of the river Ganges.
Oh yeah, that draw trillion, that draw trillion, you go draw trillion, need wrong.
So, do you have any questions or any you need any verifications or anyone want to make any comments? And so I also prepared a story for you. No, then to us you said it. Somebody writes me 66 what? I don't know what this means. 66 and question mark 67 question mark.
Sure. Ada kesungguhan apa ini kode gitu, di zing masuk nama tu. Pasal ni kode cerita, no.
그래서 너무 써서 봐요. 아니. कुछ देर बाद
No.
Yeah. Tata ngote che sonda.
네,
가보.
이쪽에 관통 거.
Yeah. I just lost the connection with my Skype.
리드.
그러면 돼. 꼭 그래.
Tenzin, those were just page numbers that someone was offering to kind of give us the pages of the handbook.
Oh, okay, okay. I got it. All right, yeah, 6, 7. That's right. That makes sense. Okay.
다 근데 그때 매너 주세요. 그거 근데 고도 고고 다 지금 매너 맞도
Oh yeah.
드라이어 말로 다 기타인데 매너 그 고소나 그 거지. 야, 처음에 가다.
And did you have questions?
그렇죠.
Remember.
다면은 아니 동전에다 실당 짐비 디오시나티 근데 정말 선지 좀 된데 시지기랑 라니 종습이라 다티 부즈라 보모즈 계속 그냥 길도 냠데 그당 지데 기온 저 계지 기온 저 계도 전에 릴라 냠데 뜻제니 저봉 저 언니 지금 지마 그니가 랍도 송네 용서 계디 카톡도 세우절지니 다
그래가지고 케이스 나츠 들고.
돌로 케케 레
네.
근데 냠때 저병 쓰고 어떻게 자다 이 같은 성질을 좋아지니 군이 뜻지네 지마 군이 랍도 송니가 라저베 고모 토송고 근데 성질이야 좋아시니 군이 겨왕아마 가르치니 저 길에서 또 비기던 냠때 기셔더니 코로나니 랍도 송니지마 라저베 고모 토송 군이 간다지 겨왕아마 간다지 레이서가지니 간다지 김천 들이 차가래네 야 냥지도 성질이 오늘 호마 안에 성지 세트 거랑나 다 성지 직진데 성지 도마시 저와와 성지 빠지를 선바이 난 이와데 지게 티카트 거 아니 코라지 당 세트 오서 세트 비나다 성지 니와데 지도 좀 티카트 때라 아니 성지 직진데 쇼니 카트 때라 성지가 아니 다 총자체 모두 싸지네 때네 섬지 탐질라 송네 다 홍잡네 지네 아니 뭐 최종으로 맞게 참마 강 점바도 계속 오더니 지네 또 참마가 속치도 뽕네 되는 뭐 몰음지기 인지네 상기가 뜻지네 아니 고조 다 동서용 졸라 심진 탐질가 안데 상기가 근데 주마 자치 못했지 뭐 자치 못 나가야 될라 아니 샨답 저로 치 망용라 맞게 참이 샨답 경으로 제지네 어떻지네 다 공부 코르다 좀 먹고들이 년티 좀 먹고 소네 공수 송어데 잡덕지르소 때네 고조 다 요노즈 여우즈 무치기 전찰라 소바데 남나도 푸서 아니 다 자창이 전에 코로나가 조지니 자 컴바트리 지금 아마 다 코니 바로라 둘로 레카오 지금 맞고요 말고 뜻죠 아니 지금 가보 지금 레카노 지금 때리 작은 우소 가보 기도는 소나 아이티 기미티 자칸도 나야이디다 저는 저 로드서메다 데데르스 네 기미티 실로 친달링로 레가 지금로나 가보는 야이드 기미 리드 가우트 코니 티기탄 로버스 그래서 그저 gondum telata 냔티 졸롱 잡네 상기가 되데 짐비 조자치 몽와레 샤트리 짐바탕노나 키쇼제도 그다 코니야 제메자 다 갈지가지네 다 코니야 제요 말하니 갈지가지네 근데 코로나기 삼바담 복진이 다 가르치는 비 아니 경험을 준비 되지가 매서 단다 멋진들인데 교우지 다 내려지 진짜 안에 땅하는 이 바로 요아땡이 돌로 게 가우 양바데스 이 야푸셨어요 다 코니 고고 파르니 다 나라 망니 짐바데즈네 고고 파르니 티 양바티야티 혼자 홍고한테 부동석 자당석 데네트 송네네 다야 뭐 용수가 소식도 디니에 냠데 키옹을 쏟더니 다 상지세 또그 띠낭네 베 기타나 냥바드 야랑지니 다고 망고 디존 띠낭네 기 냥바드 야랑네 대릉그 낭네 다디 짐바탕아 그 초도 겨와더니 모드레스 어드르스다 어떠지니 모아치당 속 대 샘진 담지 할리네 베때 강 게너지 요 연철라를 못치 망보도다 대지가 마치 띠낭네 게텐데 돌로 가오 냥바드 디질라다 상지긴 저거스니 드리소 대 가이나지니 다 상지 tani changme sarchoni kete kangni yong kar jizini oda sangi gizini di korong ni phuade sembi tangni tmame pa tunga zungni sabadam tak chi phuare si ngola mari sambalar ler marong ju chitang chi rojin jimba tang karina phashong ngo che tela lewa mari so samlo gelung lar les samlo gelung ya chenbo chi ngoni sabadam tak chi thawaina ngo che chunglar lewa mari 같이 ngo yoko chi benjul mongbu tang yoenara 나한테 살나땅 말길땅 지 됐음로 데리겠잖아. 대 판토용 거만. 대 잡대pe 대진에 디 짐바땅에 데올랐더니 코니 디 데올르지서 안에더니 요다 총막했으니까 때 강니 짐바땅 시땅 알진. 코니 손다 그냥 디 작가는 다 제요 말다 생기지 되어로. 코니 라트니 아니 요고 페테 멋지 따가랑 요고 콜라니 납자 진페 아주 좁아 차송. Jimba tagarang dewa ti sangi ke tongon jobi ngwa jiwa ti dewa la teni macet teni zongde ene konyi tere mangbo la teni kegi ponga mewa chini ta tanda warta sangi chomden di perso ta tagarang kitang chi kini ta tamang rang jobi gomong tobare ote te zata di dodok kar shegor zina ani jimba tanga te ngo ka ma chiwara samlo ka chiyare ote shegor si ote changme kenba chi sira mawana chigang sosogo jindagan 가리나 샨드 가리지나 지나 소 삼박근 양탁 지들 같이 뭐 최종 잡으려 요만 망보 좀 봐인다를 땐 전섬당 말길 땅 땐리그 차도도 땐리그 지나 펜토용 거 말이지 어떻게 요청에 도도로
So the story I want to share related to today's topic about generosity is can be found in Buddha's one of the life stories of the Buddha. Actually, the story is formed as part of the Buddha's the life story in Janaka. I guess yes, it's Janaka. So where and the Buddha often talk about at the time when the disciples ask questions or when they want to some kind of verification, clarifications, and Buddha often share the stories, and through the story, life stories of himself in his previous lifetime, or the life stories of someone else in the other different occasions or the different eons. The previous eons. In this particular case, that in the collection of Buddha's the life story and the stories told by Buddha, and there was a particular narrative where it says that the long time during the Buddha's time, and there were in a remote place there was a villager, and there's a village, and then in a family who had twins, and then when they're born, somehow it's unspeakably, and they're born with a cloth, right? Some kind of a natural cloth, and the twins come with the cloth on them, and so this amazed everyone, and then become a huge sort of the story event, and then spread everywhere. And later on, these the twins who joined the Buddha's order and become a bhikkhu and come to seeking for the teachings from the Buddha. And so then since their story about the birth and the miraculous birth, like they're born with a cloth on them, and then many people want to know the cause of this. And so, at one occasion, that someone who approached the Buddha, wanted Buddha to explain, and how come this can be happen. So then Buddha told the stories and told them the actual cause of this amazing and the events. The Buddha said that this back to the we need to bring back to Buddhist concepts, Buddhist cosmology, and we know that again the universe is beginningless. However, it's relatively, and we do have that the ages or eons, right? Whether we have this ages of the ages of where the Buddha, was appear, and so in this particular cosmic age, and so during the time of the second Buddha, unfortunately I don't remember what the Sanskrit name. It's Tibetan called Sartu. So Sanjay Sartu, Buddha Sartu, second Buddha of this cosmic age. Who, while he was teaching around, and there was so and then the Buddha said to and called made an announcement to say, in this particular day, and he wants everyone, and according to their financial conditions and their wishes and their capacity, and then to bring make a particular offering, make an offering to the make an offering, and then they're going to collect the offerings together, and then dedicate it to the needs and people who need it. So after that announcement, and then Buddha sent all directions and all over the place. Of course, this reaches the kings and the who live in the palace, right? And the richer people and in the cities and the villagers and the farmers, workers, all kinds of people. And the disciples collected all kinds of things. When people, the disciples who reached the palace, so of course the kings and queens give them gold or diamonds and the jewelries and all the expensive things. And reach the rich man, and they give a lots of money, and then those farmers, workers, they give accordingly. So while the Buddha's disciple walking around, continue collect, make the donations, and by the way, Buddha made his announcement very clear. He says it doesn't matter and what you're going to offer. It is not important that the item, whether the qualities of the item is not important. The importance is your intention. So, and then, yes, the disciples continuously collected donations, or dollars, and so one day, a Buddha disciple reached a very remote area. There's one for what you call a hut, probably, and HUT, I guess. It's the house made by straws or grass, and where lives a very poor couple, and then so the poverty, the level of the poverty, this or the suffering poverty these two couple experience are to the point that they only have one trousers or pants, and which means that when a man need to go to work, and he wearing that, and the woman stay behind in the hut, And but when the lady, the wife, has to go out and do the work, and then she wearing that pants, and because they only have one pieces. So that day, Buddha's disciple reached this hut, the very poor couple, asked them, say, we represent the Buddha, and Buddha said to, and the Buddha said to says, it doesn't matter if the quantities or the qualities of the whatever you have, and you want to make a donation to us, and then we dedicate to others. But your mind, your intention is the key. So then this couple will discuss each other, look at each other, discuss, and say, and so the only thing we have is this the valuable thing, and is this piece of the material, and which is they use as pants. Basically is wrap their body, right, and the lower part of the body, and which is piece of the material, fabric. So after discussing, they said, let's give this to the Buddha disciple, and then they can dedicate it to others. So because they are so poor, and then they say, and the Buddha disciples, you stay, and we can't really come out to give to you, and then we let's just you take it from the outside and through the kind of a hole, a door or a window, whatever, and give it to the Buddha disciple. And then the Buddha disciple brought this piece of fabric, a cloth, and then to the Buddha, and the Buddha said to look and then put it into the piles of collections of donation. And then when the ceremony of the dedication is started, and the Buddha announced that among all this fancy and all kind of great varieties of donors, and we have collected, now going to give others. And the most valuable, the most precious piece we received so far is not diamond, gold, and all those fancy, expensive things, but it is this piece of fabric or material we received from this poor couple, and who only have one piece of fabric that they cover the lower part of the body. And so everybody's amazed and asked the Buddha why this is so, and the Buddha said that's because they really offered it from absolute pure intention and without any miserly or the sense of clinging and to the object itself, and they're going to give, and they just give for absolutely with pure intention and free, and absolute for free. And for that reason, as Buddha says, even though this is a fabric or piece of material, it looks old and another expensive, very ordinary thing, but it means a great deal of the merits. And so then the ceremony is over, and everything is distributed to all over, and they give to the people accordingly. But immediate the outcome of the poor couple's generosity is that this announcement or the story and quickly heard by the king of the kingdom, where the couple lives. And then king sent messengers and a minister and visit king. They gave them the money and give them what they need, and so quickly, right away, and the poor couple and immediately free from the poverty. So yes, so this is the story. But the essence of the story, and I imagine, of course, is that just like the Buddha says, when you make an offering, it is not the nature or the quality of the object itself is how expensive or how simple and poor. but it's your attitude, your mind, and it's your intention that define the actual merits or the outcomes of your because very often when we make offerings or the practice generosity, give the things to others, we often there is a sense of self-pride, and you think you are someone else and who is equipped and sort of privileged and able, and so there's some kind of sense of I am better or I am greater than those, therefore I'm giving. So that's self-pride, which of course is not a true intention when you practice generosity. And secondly, and when you make this attention, and so often, especially involved with the public events, we have this tendency of with each other. So and so give this amount of money or this piece of thing. From here we saw it, and then we want to do better. We want to make more. So then there is a sense of competing, but now the essence of generosity forgotten, but rather is focused on the competition of itself. And then lastly, lastly at least, and is the thing that when we give the practice generosity, very often we want to have a so in any case, your practice generosity, if under the influence of self-pride or privilege, sense of privilege, being privileged, or the competition of competing, or the jealousy, all of them are essentially is not the pure practice of generosity. So that's what I try to. I think that's the essence of this story. And yes, so we practice the generosity. Just make sure and examine your attention, your intention, rather than the piece of thing that you pick up and you're going to give away.
야, 다 추천송지 라는 말로 넣어줘 그래.
So that's all for today, and then let's say the prayers of stages to the path of enlightenment.
Nam Zhi Jia Vi Hong Bo Dan Zhi De Ma Song Bi Zi Ru Gen De Yang Jiang Bi Yang Ji Ji Vi Ji Zong De Dan Bi 초기 마시고 자장냐버저위쇼데 냥제첸보 여러조바 반데데데 사월셰쇼 제야웨 마송전레레 라르샹츠랑제르메샹 단도남제여라호들상 야윈자바란드 종열주 랑잔저베던젠주시장 아젠세시무다마나근 제로간드 여윙어바이 남도란다 저월마저지 강제당바쇼라제조지 어젠드라존바데이지 테드남제도드조시장 자시장조쇼근장전지 자웨라마랑고시 다소닝글밤메당주라 가제첸베고니지송데 그송든지미르자드소 샹즈센초랑고시 마치바느지저지 제와냠바메버양 공니 공드 배월쇼 강르라웨 꿀웨 상강드 판당대와 말리용웨니 제레존 던저장소예 샤베선데 파트 단결지 바오 저트르 셴바동 근드 좀보 대양 대신데 대도 근지 지스다로정 안드다 탐즈람등오 디스모 샤비 야와 탐즈지 고와 강라 조드 나바디 안기위 사완드 근정 종오 조시랍드 오월지 반대종의 담바다상이 단전 제오 탐지 건강무사 리천의 건라 대제 종위니 상지 담바 또드 이지르지 근드 자와 종가위 단조 신영의 스자빈디 야외 ngāpe lamzāng tenyē lī kachī zāyāng dōbar mājar jī. Das ist ja, okay, sagen wir Demo.